Buenos días a todos y bienvenidos a este webinar que facilita el Jardín Botánico Regional de Cadereyta para los miembros de la Asociación Mexicana de Jardines Botánicos y para los miembros también de la Red Nacional de Jardines Etnobiológicos. Este seminario es digamos, es una segunda parte de un video que tuvimos oportunidad de compartir con ustedes en la semana pasada que ocurrió la 37ª reunión de la Asociación Mexicana de Jardines Botánicos en San Sebastián del Oeste, Jalisco. Pero esta invitación que venimos a compartir con ustedes el día de hoy de parte de la organización Reverse the Red, cuyo director de estrategia está con nosotros, tiene en realidad una raíz un poco más profunda. Yo voy a presentarles un poco de dónde viene esta iniciativa que hoy compartimos ustedes o en dónde fue que nosotros como Jardín Botánico Regional de Cadereyta nos adherimos a ella y posteriormente tendré el gusto de presentar a nuestro invitado, que es, como mencionaba, el director de estrategia de Reverse the Red. Bueno, yo soy Beatriz Maruri, me conocen varios de los que están aquí. Para quien no me conoce, soy Beatriz Maruri del Jardín Botánico Regional de Cadereyta. Y sin más, les quiero comentar que el pasado 15 de mayo, la organización Reverse the Red promovió el Congreso Mundial de Especies, que no fue un congreso al uso, sino que fue una iniciativa global que duró 24 horas en vivo, fueron 24 horas de transmisión mundial de pláticas y charlas en las que organizaciones de distintos tamaños, nacionalidades, enfoques, compartieron su trabajo, su quehacer en favor de la que es la meta 4 del marco de diversidad global Comín-Montreal, que es la reversión de la extinción de las especies. La principal organización a cargo de este Congreso Mundial, la principal organización impulsora fue Reverse the Red y tiene desde luego esta iniciativa la participación de la Unión Internacional para la Conservación de la Naturaleza. El Congreso, si bien tuvo lugar de manera virtual, como acabo de mencionar, promovió también la realización de eventos satélite, lo que se llamó eventos satélite alrededor del mundo. Estos eventos satélite tuvieron lugar desde en organizaciones muy grandes que convocaron a miles de personas durante todo un fin de semana o durante toda una semana para hablar sobre el trabajo que realizan para la conservación de las especies, hasta organizaciones más pequeñas, como es el caso del Jardín Botánico Regional de Cadereyta, desde donde estamos transmitiéndoles, que se sumó con su propio evento satélite para compartir su quehacer sobre la conservación y compartir la iniciativa de Reverse the Red en un evento más bien pequeño en el que concurrieron varios de nuestros socios cercanos, amigos y usuarios constantes. Se estima que el Congreso Mundial de Especies tuvo más de 40 millones de asistentes en pues en todas las facetas en las que se desarrolló. Aquí podemos ver un mapa que se publicó en su página señalando en dónde tuvieron lugar los eventos satélite de los que les estoy hablando. La organización Reverse the Red tiene como su principal objetivo, ya lo mencionaba yo, la que es la meta 4 del Marco Global de Biodiversidad Kunming-Montreal, que se formalizó en el año de 2022 y que tiene un conjunto de 23 metas. Reverse the Red está haciendo énfasis en la meta 4, que es detener la extinción de las especies y reducir el riesgo de la extinción. Entonces, a través de todas las acciones que pueden hacer todos los organismos, sean grandes o pequeños, es que entre todos perseguimos la consecución de estos objetivos. Reverse the Red también promueve, y Michael nos hablará esta mañana de ello, una iniciativa que se llama, la podríamos traducir en español como el compromiso de especies o Species Pledge, con el cual una organización, cualquier tipo de organización, sea grande o pequeña, se compromete a trabajar en favor de la reducción del riesgo de extinción de una especie o un grupo de especies en particular. Entonces, aquí en el Jardín Botánico nos comprometimos con 5 especies, entonces tomamos ya parte en eso y cuando tomamos parte en ese Congreso Mundial y firmamos el pliego de las especies o el compromiso de las especies, pues comentamos con Michael la posibilidad de extender la invitación a la comunidad de jardines botánicos de México para que se sumen. a este quehacer, así como estamos siempre impulsando la consecución de las metas globales de la conservación y de las metas nacionales a través de nuestra estrategia y de la estrategia global y ahora a través del marco Kunming-Montreal, que además va a adoptar medidas especiales para la flora en la próxima conferencia de las partes en Colombia, pues era un buen momento la reunión de la semana pasada para presentar el tema, estando todos reunidos, presentar el tema, invitar a las personas y a los jardines a que se sumen. Y esa es la razón por la que estamos el día de hoy. Y ahora sí, yo dejo de compartir la pantalla para presentar a nuestro invitado, que es Michael Clifford, director de estrategia de Reverse the Red. Michael nos hablará principalmente en inglés. Tienen ustedes la opción de mm, es decir, o sea, ver los subtítulos en inglés, así está programado el seminario o configurado el seminario. A lo mejor están viendo subtítulos en español y deben de estar muy extraños porque están configurados para que estén en inglés. Creo que cada quien lo puede hacer, sí, en la barrita de opciones hay una que dice sí, sí, Show Captions. Ahí pueden activar subtítulos en inglés. Yo estaré facilitando un tanto, no soy intérprete profesional ni lejanamente, pero estaré facilitando la comunicación en ambos sentidos. Michael tiene un antecedente más ligado con la fauna que con la flora, dado que su entrenamiento formal fue bueno, como cuidador en parques zoológicos, pero posteriormente comenzó a trabajar conservación in situ de animales en África y posteriormente hizo un posgrado, del cual me estaba hablando hace un momento, sobre diseño de cambio, lo que le ha permitido trabajar diseñando estrategias de cambio para organizaciones tanto no lucrativas como lucrativas, pero durante los últimos 13 años se ha dedicado a impulsar organizaciones que tienen que ver con la conservación de la biodiversidad, a desarrollar estrategias de impacto que sean concretas, fáciles de medir y comprobables. Entonces, es nuestro invitado de hoy que nos da mucho gusto recibir. Michael, thank you very much for joining today. I was introducing you to the members of the Botanic Gardens in Mexico community that are already with us. I was speaking regarding the World Species Congress and the way in which the Cadereyza Regional Botanic Garden was involved. And I offered a brief introduction regarding your profile. And now we are eager to listen to you. I will serve as a sort of an interpreter in both ways. And well, welcome.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. It's great to be with you all. And thank you for allowing me to present in English as I am still learning Spanish. Beatriz got to hear me attempt some Spanish earlier, and much to learn. Um, so yeah, excited to be with you and to share a bit about Reverse the Red. Really, there's kind of two big things that I would like for you all to know. The first is that we do know how to save species. We can be successful in effectively and quickly recovering threatened species around the globe. So that's the first thing I want, and I'll share a couple of examples about that. And then the second thing is for some ways for you to be involved. There's really two specific things I want to talk about that really any garden at any size and anywhere in the world can be a part of reversing the red. Um, so those are kind of the two big things that I'll talk about, and I'll share screen. But it's just I can pause for a second if you want to translate or reiterate any of that.
Sí, bueno, él estaba mencionando que quiere hablar principalmente sobre quiere traer dos temas principales. El primero, que sabemos cómo hacer el trabajo, lo digo muy resumidamente, que sabemos cómo hacer el trabajo de conservación de la biodiversidad. Y segundo, que cualquier jardín botánico, sea del tamaño que sea, puede realizar labores en favor de de la conservación.
Perfecto. All right. I'm going to share screen here and walk through just a couple quick slides to cover a few things. So let's do this here. Okay. So reverse the red, in case you are unfamiliar with us, we are a coalition that is committed to accelerating strategic recovery focused action. So there is lots of conservation that happens in the world, and that is all good. And some of the most urgent, most threatened species are the ones that we need immediate, urgent strategic action for. So that's what we are trying to do is to accelerate that strategic action. We want to halt extinctions, reverse declines, and ultimately recover and restore populations of threatened species, and that is plants, animals, and fungi. And then, as we just had mentioned earlier, we are focused on supporting governments as they work to deliver on Target 4 and Goal A. And I'll skip this, as I think you all know that. So, a bit of kind of giving you a sense of the strategy that Reverse the Red uses. We work at three levels. We work at the international level, the national level, and the species level. Our idea is we want all of these levels to be oriented towards the same goal of reversing declines, halting extinctions, and recovering threatened species. So we're working to make sure all of those things connect. And the other thing that we have learned throughout really all over the world, and every country is unique and different, but right now these three levels don't interact or collaborate much or as much as they could. And that's one of the big problems and opportunities that we see in the world. And I'll pause there, Beatrice.
Ok, bueno, que alrededor del mundo hay un declive y es decir, son acciones que se llevan a cabo alrededor de todo el mundo, son acciones que se necesitan llevar a cabo alrededor de todo el mundo. Hay especies que tienen más urgencia de ser conservadas y están trabajando principalmente para reducir la tasa de declinación de extinción de animales, de plantas y de hongos, de apoyar a los gobiernos también a conseguir estas metas y que trabajan a tres niveles: nivel internacional, niveles nacionales y al nivel de las especies, orientados siempre a revertir el declive de las especies y conectar la interacción entre estos niveles, que a veces es el principal desafío, que no se empatan entre sí. Que bueno, que también la organización de cada país es diferente y que eso también es un desafío que abordan.
Yes. The one example, actually, just from last week, I was having a conversation with a group. This is connected to a small botanical garden, actually, but a group in Ecuador has successfully done assessments on a few magnolia tree species. And so, good news is that those populations have grown, and they can submit to actually downlist those two of those magnolia tree species, and they are beginning assessments on 10 more species, which is fantastic. And I had asked them that in the last 10 years, have you shared the good news with the Ecuadorian government? Have you let them know that it's working? And they said, no, we've actually never talked to the Ecuadorian government. And so I know things are set up a little bit different in Mexico. Many of your gardens are a part of the national government and the national ecosystem kind of biodiversity world. So that's a positive thing. But that story from Ecuador really reinforces the point is that oftentimes all of us that are doing really good, important work at the species level, the governments have no idea that it's happening. And and conversely, when the governments learn that we are doing good work and we are having successes, they're excited by that. We're helping them achieve Target 4, and then they want to support it, they want to publicize it, and oftentimes they want to financially support the work as well. Not always, but if they don't know about it, they definitely won't support it. And so it's just a good example of how there's disconnect between these three levels. So I'll pause there.
Good. Michael mencionaba que hay un caso de un jardín botánico pequeño en Ecuador que ha llevado a cabo trabajo de conservación, de evaluación de magnolias, y que, bueno, sus acciones han llevado a que baje el riesgo y a incrementar el número de especies con el que están trabajando. Entonces, en días pasados, o bueno, hace algún tiempo, él les preguntaba si estos esfuerzos y este éxito con su trabajo de conservación lo sabía el gobierno de Ecuador, y le contestaron que no sabía. Entonces, esta incomunicación que existe es un problema. A veces los gobiernos no tienen idea de lo que están haciendo organizaciones pequeñas en favor de la conservación, y ya que lo llegan a saber, en ocasiones hay también reacciones positivas y quieren apoyar el trabajo. Michael, I just wanted to mention that in Mexico, most botanic gardens belong to, I don't think, I wouldn't say most, perhaps, but botanic gardens, a group of botanic gardens belong to academic institutions, name universities or institutes, and there are other group of botanic gardens related to private initiatives, and the least are the public gardens that belong to the state. But well, I just wanted to mention that regarding the botanic gardens in Mexico. Okay, thank you. So, mencioné que muchos jardines botánicos de México pertenecen a instituciones formales educativas, otros pertenecen a la iniciativa privada, son de organizaciones, y ya vemos unos cuantos que son públicos. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for clarifying that too on the different types of gardens that there are. That's very similar to what we see around the world is there's a variety of different types of organizations. And the key thing is that no matter whether you're a private, you're a public entity, no matter who it is, there's still that opportunity for that collaboration, that connection across those pieces. From our experience, there are a handful of countries, probably maybe 15 to 20 countries that have very well coordinated environmental and species recovery efforts, but many of them don't. Many of them really struggle to know how to even begin planning for species recovery and species effort. So we see a lot of countries focusing on things like 30 by 30, which is good. And we also know the IUCN did a study not long ago that 57% of threatened species will still be at threat of going extinct, even if we hit the 30 by 30 targets and even if we solve the climate change issues. So 57% of species still need direct human action to see those species recovered.
I'm very sorry. I am having a little issue with my Wi-Fi. I'm switching to a different internet connection, and I wasn't able to catch your last part. Could you repeat it for me?
Yes, no worries, no worries. Yes, so many of the countries have very different formats of how they go about species recovery efforts. And because species conservation is difficult and many of the governments themselves don't know how to begin the process, a lot of them default to the 30 by 30 targets and simply doing land preservation, which is good and we need it. However, we know that IUCN did a study a few years ago that 57% of species will still be likely to go extinct or threatened with extinction, even if we achieve 30 by 30 and solve climate solutions. So 57% of species still need direct targeted effort from people just like all of you and from gardens and zoos and museums and things.
Okay, just to clarify for me, could you tell me a little more about the 30 by 30 meaning?
Yes. So many of the countries have signed on to what they call 30 by 30. This is so like we were talking about target 4 of the biodiversity plan, target 2 and 3 are 30 by 30.
Okay.
So what that means is separating 30% of a country's land for biodiversity preservation.
Okay.
So many of the countries are working on that goal right now, and that's where that ties in. The challenge with that is that many governments and organizations feel if we just protect land, all the species will be fine, but that is not true. Many of the species are like, particularly many of the plant species are so isolated at this point and their populations are so decimated that they need specific efforts to recover and repopulate. Yes, great question.
Thank you. So the other 3 is that should be done by 2030 or something?
Correct. Yes.
Correct.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes. That's important.
30% by 2030. Yes, I wanted to make it clear. Sorry.
Gracias.
Bien. Muchos países piensan que con cumplir la meta 30 por 30, o sea, tener el 30% del territorio nacional conservado para el año 2030, sería una medida suficiente para que para que la conservación de las especies se asegure. Pero esto no es así. Las cifras señalan que de todos modos, si se asegura ese 30 por 30, un 57% de las especies seguirán requiriendo esfuerzos específicos para su conservación.
Perfect. So for Reverse the Red, the first thing that we try to do is how do we make sure these levels are talking to one another? That's one of the first things that we're doing. The next series of things are the arrows on the side. Is we work to amplify success and tell success stories so that other countries, other organizations can see examples where we have successfully recovered species. And we just mentioned earlier the World Species Congress. That was one of those initiatives, was 24 hours of successful stories of species recovery, including a number of stories from Mexico, from gardens working on specific cactus species and some amazing programs right there. And then the other thing that we do is on the right side is connecting organizations and countries to tools, strategies, and best practices when they need them. So there are many tools out there, but finding ways to connect it when it's needed and when the time is right is part of the opportunity that we have. So that is what Reverse the Red spends our time doing, making those connections between the levels, storytelling, and best practices.
Mm, Hay dos acciones principales que Reverse the Red se encarga de llevar a cabo, que es favorecer, amplificar el éxito a partir de la mejoría de la comunicación entre los distintos niveles que vemos ahora en la imagen, el nivel de las especies o el nivel local, el nacional y el internacional, y conectarlas entre sí en el momento adecuado, promoviendo el storytelling y buenas prácticas.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to jump ahead to this here. So, want to share a few ways that any of your gardens can be involved in reversing the red. We have a lot of work to do in the world. The last report was that there are 53,800 known threatened species. So there are plenty of species to choose from if you would like to work on one. What you're seeing here is we have actually almost 4,000 species pledges that have been made. What the Reverse the Red Species Pledge is organizations like gardens, zoos, aquariums, uh, natural history museums, any different types of organizations have made a specific commitment to reverse declines of a species in a particular country, and they've identified which strategic actions they are participating in, and I'll talk about that more in a second, and what measures or metrics they use, and whether or not they're coordinating with their national government. And that is the species pledge. But what this allows us to do, the map you're seeing does not include all 4,000 yet. We are still processing the data, but it allows us to see the incredible amount of effort and expertise going into reversing declines of species worldwide, and allows us to communicate that to specific governments so they recognize that there are partners ready and willing to support them in achieving these goals.
Ok. Vamos a hablar a continuación de la manera en la que los jardines botánicos pueden sumarse a este esfuerzo. En este momento ya está hablando de el Species Pledge o el compromiso con las especies. Hay en el mundo, de acuerdo con las cifras que nos está presentando, 53.800 especies que están amenazadas, así que podemos trabajar al menos con una, dice. Por el momento hay 4.000 especies que están ya comprometidas en el Species Pledge por organizaciones como jardines botánicos, parques zoológicos, acuarios, museos, y una cosa que también promueve Reverse the Red es comunicar a los gobiernos estas acciones que se llevan a cabo a nivel local o a nivel especie, bueno, para consolidar metas de conservación.
So a few examples. We have large and small gardens that have made pledges. We've had pledges based on trees, on succulent species, on help, all sorts of different things that we've had come in. So the commonality is a specific commitment to strategic activities to reverse declines of that species. So a few examples, I'll give a couple, kind of pause in between each of those stories. One of the first ones actually comes from some of our partners in Australia. So some of the gardens there were able to identify a number of endemic threatened species to their region. And so the garden not only set out to do collection and make sure that they were seed banking and biobanking of that particular species. It was like multiple species, I think four or five. But they then worked as a group of botanists to figure out how to propagate that particular plant effectively. It used to be seen all over highways and roadsides and in a lot of different places, but the populations continued to diminish. So they established a system of how to propagate the plant effectively. And then I thought this was so brilliant. So what they did was then they partnered with a series of schools and they actually taught the school groups how to propagate the seeds. So not only they were propagating at the garden itself, but they were really using a lot of other partnerships and all of these children to create these populations. And then they use the same children to go out and actually do the translocation and the replanting and creating new populations. So they were able to successfully downlist at least one species. They're working on more now, but in a very short amount of time and with very low resources, because they use partnerships like schools, they have advanced this entire thing. And so that's one example of a species pledge, but you can see how the garden was able to collect the plant material, but move beyond just collection of material and seed banking. They then were looking at propagation strategies, built partnership, and then have actually successfully put more plants back out into native and historic ranges for that particular species.
Los ejemplos de la labor de los jardines botánicos, nos acaba de especificar uno en Australia, pero es decir, las especies que se encuentran en el Species Pledge son especies grandes, especies pequeñas, hay árboles, hay suculentas, hay plantas de todo tipo, pero lo que tienen en común las organizaciones que se han adherido al Species Pledge es que llevan a cabo actividades estratégicas. El ejemplo de Australia, del Jardín Botánico de Australia, es que pudieron identificar especies endémicas amenazadas y se abocaron a colectarlas, a hacer bancos de semillas. Y el grupo de botánicos del del jardín participante la propagó, es decir, se dedicó a identificar el protocolo de propagación, pero se asociaron con escuelas. Se asociaron con escuelas, hablaron con los grupos de estudiantes y ahora las escuelas son las que propagan las especies. Bueno, esta especie en concreto la propagan y no solamente la propagan, sino que también se están encargando de trabajos de reintroducción y con una acción relativamente sencilla, pero y también de pocos recursos, es decir, no muy demandante de recursos en cuanto a recursos financieros, pudieron bajar el nivel de riesgo al que estaba sometida esta especie.
And I'll give two other quick examples. One comes from a friend of mine, William, out of Haiti. The botanic gardens in Haiti actually looked at a few specific species that, again, were becoming more and more threatened in their country, and they were able to recognize a essentially a medicinal value and an economic value to this particular plant. And so the garden again did the research to learn how to propagate them as well as find the essentially build the market and build the value for this threatened plant. And so they established that and then use that to encourage more local citizens and local communities to grow this particular endemic plant rather than growing foreign invasive plants. They could grow this native plant and were able to generate income and revenue for their local community based off of that. And again, this was a project of relatively low cost, but a lot of relationship and finding connections with local kind of historic cultural elements and local medicinal use and and indigenous wisdom around that. So that's another example that's been fantastic. And then the last one I'll give is from some of our partners actually in Hawaii. They have been the leading organization doing assessments. So they have done the red list for Hawaii because being an island, Hawaii does not get incorporated into the United States kind of general plant assessments. So they did their own, and those assessments were used to then leverage national and international funding to protect a very large number of unique endemic species to Hawaii.
Bien, son ejemplos de dos casos, uno de Will en Haití, respecto de una especie que estaba muy amenazada, con la que pudieron identificar un valor potencial, bueno, un valor medicinal y potencialmente económico que llevó al Jardín Botánico a propagarla y además a impulsar, a invitar a otros ciudadanos y organizaciones a propagarla y a plantarla. Además es una especie nativa, naturalmente, y con eso dejar de usar especies exóticas, en vez de eso plantar una especie nativa que tiene valor de distinto tipo. Es un proyecto que tiene un costo bajo, que también conlleva la creación de conexiones entre las personas que conocen a las plantas y las saben propagar y otras personas que no son especialistas, pero que se suman al esfuerzo para proteger una especie que tiene un valor local, histórico, cultural y que inclusive se puede vincular con el conocimiento indígena que tiene el uso de esa especie. Y el otro es un ejemplo en Hawái, en donde no había, no, hicieron sus propias evaluaciones de las especies porque no estaban siendo, pues, digamos, evaluadas de manera central. Entonces ellos hicieron localmente sus evaluaciones de riesgo de las especies y gracias a esas evaluaciones locales que hicieron, pudieron conseguir financiamiento para protegerlas.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to stop screen share there. I will also put a link in for you to the species pledge, but want you to be encouraged that any size organization, any location in the world can make a species pledge. And we're also providing support where we can. If you want to talk more about your pledge or how to accelerate the impact of it, let us know. Coming up very shortly, I don't know if any of you or many of you may be planning to be at COP16 in Colombia. I will be there and we'll be meeting our team with many government officials and sharing with them all of these pledges so they know how many organizations are committed to species recovery so that governments need to know that they're not alone in their work and that they do have support and that there's many organizations ready and willing to support them. So by making the pledge, you help us to increase that number and increase the amount of people and organizations around the world that are assisting and making sure we can recover biodiversity. So I'll put that link here in the chat while you translate.
Ok, nos va a compartir ahora el link en el chat para quien desee sumarse al Species Pledge, a la iniciativa del compromiso de las especies. Cualquier organización puede hacerlo y Rivers the Red puede apoyar también a cualquier organización, sea pequeña o sea grande, para sumarse a este esfuerzo. Michael va a estar presente en la COP16 que va a ser en Colombia para hablar de este tema y pues enfatiza el hecho de que los gobiernos, bueno, es decir, que esto puede ayudar a que los gobiernos sepan que no están solos en la tarea de la conservación y pues de esta manera se incrementa el número de personas y organizaciones que toman parte. I just wanted to mention, Michael, that at least in Mexico, we are working with the Mexican Strategy for Plant Conservation. Well, we work with the objectives of the Mexican Strategy for Plant Conservation, which is according to the global strategy for plant conservation. And at least it is my understanding that we, the community of botanic gardens, are well aware of the existence of the strategy and the way in which our goals, our work would contribute to the goals of the strategy. That is also another thing that should be really enhanced to promote the strategies at the national level. and to know everybody
Mhm.
aware of the strategies, because sometimes people doesn't know that there exists the
Yeah.
national strategies. Mencionaba yo rápidamente el hecho de que conocemos la estrategia mexicana de conservación vegetal y que eso también es un área de oportunidad que a veces la gente no la conoce y podría estar pasando lo mismo en otros países. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And same, one of the things we often are doing is encouraging making sure that any group, like a civil society group or a garden or a zoo, is aware of the national biodiversity strategy. One thing just important to know as kind of a side note, the so 196 countries that have signed on to the biodiversity plan, they are due to update their national biodiversity strategies by this October. We Reverse the Red works very closely with the MBSAP Forum, which is the United Nations group assisting countries in writing their national biodiversity strategy. What they have told us is that many of the countries are not going to be ready to publish their biodiversity strategy by October.
Mm.
So the bad news is that they won't be ready. The good news is that those countries are recognizing the need for help. And so we're able to step in and provide that assistance. Actually, just 2 days ago, we did a webinar for 16 countries that requested assistance in writing their national biodiversity strategy to include species. 2 years ago, many, or 4 years ago, 4 years ago, many of the national biodiversity strategies did not even include the word species. Um, Many countries aren't even thinking about the species level of the work. So countries like Mexico are actually one of the best examples we have in the world. You are really a leading country when it comes to biodiversity strategy and implementation. So just affirming everything you're saying there, Beatrice, and knowing about that plan and participating in that plan is really, really important.
Ok, bueno, pues que también están ayudando a un grupo de países bueno, deberían de tener como compromiso el tener desarrollada su estrategia de biodiversidad para octubre. Muchos de ellos no lo van a conseguir, pero lo bueno, ese es el aspecto que no es tan bueno, pero el aspecto que es muy bueno es que reconocen la necesidad de ayuda para conformar sus propias metas de biodiversidad. Y bueno, lo que mencionaba en la última parte de esta frase es que México es un país líder en cuanto a la conservación de la biodiversidad por los instrumentos que tiene, y pues bueno, uno de esos es el que conocemos bien.
Right. Okay. So the species pledge is one way to get involved. Again, whether you're doing assessments of species in the wild, whether you're doing propagation for replanting and creating new populations, whether you're dealing with illegal plant trade, any of these types of things, and there's more. Those are all things that help contribute to achieving biodiversity recovery. So there are lots of options out there beyond your collection and seed banking and those things, which are good. And there's steps that we can actively do to help make sure that wild populations are thriving in the future. So if you are willing and able, we would love to have all your work recognized within the Reverse the Red Species Pledge.
Ok, hay muchas opciones muchas acciones diferentes para registrar en el Species Pledge, que va más allá de la conservación ex situ en una colección, sea de plantas o semillas. Está la evaluación, o sea, acciones que se pueden hacer son la evaluación de las plantas, la propagación, reintroducción o replantación, revegetación, bueno, también generación de nuevas poblaciones, acciones que protejan a las plantas del comercio ilegal. En fin, es una gama de acciones que se pueden llevar a cabo que va más allá de la parte ortodoxa de la conservación ex situ en la colección viva del jardín, y también es una manera de reconocer el trabajo que se lleva a cabo con ellas.
And then the last thing I'll chat about or share is coming up on February 7th is Reverse the Red Day. So similar to the World Species Congress, although there won't be 24 hours of content for us to steer this time, many gardens and organizations will be hosting satellite events on Reverse the Red Day. We have a working group with BGCI that will help to come up with some ideas that you as a garden could implement and do on that day. Many gardens are doing public facing events on Reverse the Red Day. So it's a little bit more oriented towards public. And a number of organizations are using that as an opportunity to bring together key government agents and agencies, gardens, to talk about biodiversity strategies at the national level as well. Um, During the World Species Congress, some absolutely amazing meetings took place all around the world to accelerate species recovery action. And so many of those organizations are using Reverse the Red Day again to advance that discussion. So you are completely welcome to host anything. We'll do a map probably similar to we did on the Congress, but we would love to have you participating in Reverse the Red Day, and a lot more information will be coming out later this month and in October with details.
Ok, bueno, el próximo 7 de febrero, bueno, el 7 de febrero es el día de Reverse the Red, entonces están previendo un evento no tan grande como el del Congreso Mundial de Especies, que no va a durar 24 horas, pero los jardines botánicos y otras organizaciones van a, es decir, están invitadas, o estamos invitados a alojar eventos satélite análogos al del Congreso Mundial de las Especies. Reverse the Red tiene un grupo de trabajo con BGCI, con Botanic Gardens Conservation International, y muchos de estos eventos públicos que están más que nada orientados hacia el público, los del día de Reverse the Red, es una oportunidad también para hacer vínculos con agencias gubernamentales, con otros elementos clave y hablar de las metas para la conservación y de las estrategias. Es un día que se puede emplear para darle visibilidad al trabajo de conservación y promover discusiones con grupos interesados y pues aún con grupos que también desconocen.
Okay. All right. ¿Está bien? ¿Fin? Para mí.
Sí,
Sí. I think we have tiempo para preguntas.
sí, por supuesto. Bueno, hemos tenido una exposición breve pero sustanciosa sobre el trabajo de Reverse the Red y la manera en la que nos podemos sumar. Yo les invito a aprovechar la oportunidad de tener a Michael aquí con nosotros para formular alguna duda o comentario, pregunta que quieran compartir con él. Tenemos la opción de preguntas y respuestas aquí activadas en el webinar, pero si alguien desea intervenir, eh, si desea tomar la palabra, con mucho gusto, levante la mano y lo ascendemos a panelista inmediatamente. Yo puedo también seguir fungiendo como esta especie de intérprete un poco torpe, ustedes perdonarán, pero I am telling that uh, we are eager to know about questions or comments, and I offering my non-professional interpreter services to. Do you have the number of botanic gardens around the world taking part in the species pledge?
Hmm. Let me see if I can pull up the data. It's hard to tell who exactly is a garden because the names are all different. But let me see if I can find that answer quickly while I see that one question came.
Okay, no urgent. It's not urgent. We have already a question. I will translate it for you. It is from Gustavo Castañeda, and he's asking a similar question. How many institutions in Mexico are taking part of this network? I mean, the Species Pledge group in Mexico. Do you know the answer? Organizations, not just botanic gardens, but organizations.
Sí, organizations. I think in total, I know of at least 14 or 15 organizations in Mexico that have participated at some point. Again, that could be universities, it can be gardens, it can be zoos. We have, as of today, we have over 10,000 partners that help do the work of reversing the red. So I have not met most of them yet, but I am working on meeting many of them. So,
okay. There's a question from Gabriela Rocha. Good morning, Gabriela. Nice to have you here. It said, what is the country that has the more species pledges, and why do you think that is?
Yes, good question. Right now, India has the most. Um, the I would say the reason is probably just partnerships. They have a really strong organization called the Wildlife Institute of India, and they're not a government organization, but they're very close to it. And they network incredibly well with a large variety of NGOs and other organizations that contribute to this. So they have a lot of, they're very well coordinated. So that's probably why we have the most pledges from India right now. There's also a lot of organizations in India. So that weighs in as well.
That's very interesting. La pregunta de Gabriela era que cuál es el país que tiene más adhesiones al pliego de especies y cuál es la razón. La respuesta es que es la India, la que más adhesiones tiene al pliego de especies y que probablemente esto se debe a que tienen una buena coordinación entre distintos elementos, además de que tienen un instituto para la biodiversidad, el Wildlife Institute of India, pero están bien coordinados con organizaciones no gubernamentales y con otras organizaciones. There is another intervention from our friend Lorraine Matias. She comes from the National Commission for the Knowledge and Use of Biodiversity in Mexico, the CONABIO. Hola, Lorraine. And she's telling, thank you very much for such an interesting talk. It's very good to speak about what seems to be a small action to revert the risk of extinction of species. And those small actions are not small, they are important as well. And she is telling that CONABIO will be waiting for February the 7th, the reverse the red day, to take part on it. And okay, that's the comment from Lorraine.
Perfecto. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Lorraine. Un momento más, tenemos más.
And I have potentially a question for all of you.
Okay.
Is when it comes to actions to reverse declines of species, other than money, what are the biggest challenges that you are facing, and how might we as Reverse the Red help you?
Es una muy buena pregunta. Michael pregunta que cuando se trata de conservar especies, además de las limitaciones en el presupuesto que casi todos enfrentamos, que cuál es el principal desafío para la conservación de las especies. Oh, and while our attendees are thinking their answers, I would say that maybe it's a combination. I think that do you know the term green blindness? Green blindness
Yes.
regarding the society, the green blindness, that they are not aware of the importance of plants. I would say that this is the most challenging thing, not specifically green blindness, but in general terms, the society being unaware of the importance of biological conservation. I think that is the main challenge, and that leads to unconscious actions regarding our environment and its biological elements. So I would say the society being unaware of the importance of biological conservations and the importance of our actions. Yo estoy diciendo que para mí el desconocimiento de la sociedad, la ceguera vegetal y la falta de conciencia sobre lo importante que son nuestras acciones para conservar la diversidad y la biodiversidad en sí, para mí es un desafío muy importante. ¿Alguien más que quiera contribuir para contestar esta pregunta? Además del dinero, de las limitaciones financieras, ¿cuáles son las limitaciones? There are other sort of limitation, I mean, of practical limitations. For example, sometimes our public institutions are not well coordinated, are not quick answering to practical issues, to practical aspects. I'm speaking about collection licenses, for example, in order to collect germplasm from a wild population or something. That can delay lots of time, even months sometimes. So that's another challenge. For example, this is just an example. Just an example.
Yeah.
Well, ¿alguien más? ¿Preguntas o comentarios? I think we're almost finishing. It's almost 11 a.m. And
Yes.
we, at least in Central Mexico, Central Time. It's been a great pleasure hosting to you, Michael, and thank you for this very important invitation. I really hope that many of our colleagues in Mexico will join the Species Pledge. We have been recording this webinar, so I think we can put it available to other members that maybe couldn't join for some reason us today. And well, would you like to offer some final remarks, some final comments?
Sure. Primero, mucho gusto, Beatriz, para hosting y translation. Muchas gracias. Y mucho gusto. Great to meet all of you. Yeah, and quiero decir gracias para el Jardín de Gatadera. You all have been absolutely fantastic to work with, and a number of Conobio and different stuff that I've had a chance to meet. Very excited for everything that you're doing. And again, as we said, there's a lot of work to be done, and we can only do this if we do it together. And every one of our organizations, no matter how small or how big or how complex or new or old we are, we have a role and the potential to meaningfully contribute to seeing species thriving in the future. So I am here to serve anyone. That's my job, is to support this effort. So if I can help you in any way, please do. I'll drop my email in the chat. But other than that, muchas gracias, Toro. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias por la presencia de todos ustedes, gracias por la presencia de Conavio, y él está listo para recibir sus comentarios y preguntas y para apoyar estas acciones. Tienen ustedes tanto el vínculo para la parte de Species Pledge en el portal de Reverse the Red, como el correo electrónico de Michael ahora en el chat. Ahí lo voy a dejar todavía unos instantes cuando terminemos este webinar, para que todo el mundo pueda escribir y sumarse. Thank you very much to you, Michael. It's been a pleasure having you today, and I hope that we will have success in our endeavors regarding conservation, hopefully working together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias. Adiós.
Gracias a todos por haberse sumado a este webinar, y pues bueno, esto ha sido todo. Están los vínculos en el chat. I think we have no, it's just, they're just saying goodbye and thank you. Thank you to you. Gracias a todos. Buenos días.
Buenos días. Adiós.